Welcome back to another track test video here at Toronto Motorsports Park. Today's contestant is this brand new 2019 Mazda 3 Sport. If you're a Mazda fan like we are, then you'll know that this is the all-new 7th generation Mazda 3. We have gone with the top-of-the-line Sport GT all-wheel drive. That's right, everyone. You can get a Mazda 3 with all-wheel drive now, which I think is pretty cool, especially in an environment like ours where in the wintertime, I could see all-wheel drive coming in awfully handy on those snowy days. It's still a front-biased setup, but it does have a clutch-type diff in the rear end, the simple drive shaft that runs back there, all computer-controlled, all tied in through Mazda's very advanced G-vectoring control system. G-vectoring, GVC. In fact, they call it GVC Plus now because they not only do some vectoring with the throttle to help the car rotate, but they also do some magic with the outside rear brake to help the car turn as well. So all of this GVC magic is really designed to dial out as much understeer as they can and make the car turn as sort of, as cleanly as you're, in your mind you would imagine it being. So there will be some computer additions to my driver's skill in this track test. I can't defeat those systems as far as I'm aware, so we're just going to put it in sport mode and see what this GVC system is all about. I don't know if it's going to interfere with me or do some odd cutting in and out as things get hot with the rear brakes like I experienced in the Focus ST and the Focus RS. So I'm really curious to see how all that technology works in this car because it's the first time that I've tried one of these cars with Mazda's GVC system. Other than that, this thing has the premium package, so it comes with like nice 18-inch wheels and a very, very nice leather-wrapped interior. It's like a German luxury car inside. The quality is really outstanding, and I will tell you from driving it on the streets here that it rides extremely well. It feels like a very refined, very premium package. It really feels like they're moving upscale with this car, which I believe is their strategy. But what I don't know is if in the process of moving upscale, have they taken away some of that sporty spirit that Mazdas have always had? Have they extracted some zoom in exchange for some premium luxury feel? We don't know the answer to that yet, but we're going to hit the track to find out, to see if it's really got some sportiness in there or if it's turned into more of a luxurious cruising hatchback. So with all that said, I think I'm going to throw the lap time in there, go hit the track and see what we got to work with. All right, guys, firing up the Mazda 3 Sport here. Mazda 3 Sport GT all-wheel drive, I should say. As you can see, it's got this beautiful digital dash now that looks like analog gauges, but it's actually a digital display in the middle that gives you all kinds of information, and obviously it's got this nice big LCD up here. If you guys want a really detailed look at this car, then I would recommend Savage Geese's review. He did this like forensic level analysis of the car that's pretty mind-blowing in terms of the amount of detail he gives you on it, so go check out his channel. And I think the Straight Pipes guys, who are here today by the way, also did a really good review of this car at the press release where they drove it around out in, I think, California, and talked about what they thought about it. So those are, I think, really good street-based reviews. We're track guys here, so we want to talk about this car in a performance sense of the word. So speaking of performance, it only comes with an automatic gearbox in all-wheel drive trim like this car. So there is no option for a manual and all-wheel drive. Bit of a bummer, but I'm told that the automatic works extremely well in sport mode. So I put it in sport mode. It does have flappy paddles here, but I'm also told that the shift logic is very good if you just leave it in automated shifting in sport mode. So that's what I'm going to do. It's got an electronic parking brake, which drives me a little crazy, but I'm old, so don't let that bother you, everybody. As you can see inside, it's absolutely beautiful. It's leather wrapped everywhere, and the steering wheel is really nicely contoured and sized and shaped. I really like the ergonomics in here. The seats are comfortable and supportive. They're not what I would call a sport seat, but they're certainly more supportive than the average seat in a subcompact or compact class hatchback like this. So this is a very nice place to be and a very quiet, luxurious place to be. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to feel or hear when driving this car hard, but we're going to find out. That's why we're here. How much sportiness is left in this car's DNA because of the way they've moved it upscale. And I can tell you it's a beautiful road car, and I think most automotive journalists have been singing the car's praises, and in my opinion for good reason. It really is a very pleasant car to be in, and it drives wonderfully. It doesn't have any annoying tendencies to it. The The whole infotainment system is new and takes a bit of getting used to. It's not touchscreen anymore. You got to control it all with a dial down here. But these are all things that you figure out once you buy one and live with it for a bit, and it suddenly wouldn't bother you anymore, I don't think. So I don't have huge expectations for, smoking fast lap times, because this car is fairly heavy. It weighs over 3,200 pounds, and the 2.5 liter Skyactiv G engine's rated at 186 horsepower and 186 pound-feet of torque. So, it's not a crazy power to weight ratio. This is not a hot hatch. As badly as I personally want this to be a Mazda Speed 3 and be a hot hatch, it's really not what it is. This is a luxury hatch. This is a premium quality hatch that's sophisticated and refined, and I don't know if it's got any Hoonigan spirit in it or not, but I'm putting my foot to the floor right now to find out, and it's not that fast in a straight line. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not that fast, but power to weight ratio is a hard thing to overcome. The brakes are good though, really good initial bite, and nice release. Feels very natural. Doesn't have any sort of odd, computerized feel to the brake pedal. And in turn one, it had a little bit of understeer, but we're on an all-season tire. This is not a high-performance tire, so I have to remind myself that I'm not going to have super high mechanical grip levels on a tire like this. And it is doing some throttle limiting there. That's interesting. I was at full throttle and was decelerating in that corner because the car probably thought I was doing things that I wasn't supposed to be doing. I had too much yaw angle or too much speed for my trajectory or something. The computers disagreed with what I was doing there, and that's okay. I don't always have to get along with computers, but so far it's not intervening in any severe way. It's mild intervention, I would say. Previous generation vectoring systems were very kind of ugly the way they would cut in. They would really shut the party down in a hurry, where this feels much more progressive, much more willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. But if it thinks you're really about to do something crazy, it's definitely intervening a bit here too. And it does have a bit of push there, a little understeer. Not terminal understeer, not horrendous understeer, but understeer nonetheless. And it does, to me, feel like a front-wheel drive car. So that's a 134 warm-up lap. We can definitely do better than that as long as I don't get any brake fade. And the brake pedal is a little longer there, so we are putting some heat in the brakes. And I'm gonna try to focus a bit more here than I was on the previous lap and see if I get a nice clean lap in here for you guys, just so we get an idea of how fast this is and where it falls on our lap time leaderboard. I want to give it as much respect as I can. And look at that, a little four-wheel slide there. That was nice. Well done, Mazda. You let me have some fun there. If you tidy things up and kind of turn in a little earlier than I'm used to, I did just get out of a rear drive drift car, so that a very different experience than this. It does seem to like it if you tidy it up a bit, turn it in a little earlier, and use the throttle a little earlier, maybe like you would drive an all-wheel drive car. So I feel like it is starting to send some power to the rear as I clean up my driving here. Interesting. Maybe a little bit more rally car in here than I was giving it credit for. Yes, it's liking this slow in, early throttle approach. Much better. Much better. It's funny how, different engineers tune cars differently, and this car definitely likes that slow in on the throttle to the apex kind of style. Interesting, but I really like the roll control. This is not that rolly. Mazda has a tendency to tune their cars fairly soft because they like roll to give you that, dynamic feeling. As is tradition around here, we'll show you the lap time. It is a 133.2. I don't know where that falls on our lap time leaderboard. It'll be near the bottom, but you know what? I think for this year, we're gonna start a new lap time leaderboard just for press cars, for unmodified new cars. So this will be our first entry on that board, and we'll add to that over the summer. But to give you a bit of perspective, I did like a 125 with a passenger in the 350Z drift car earlier today, and the previous Mazda press car experience I had was in a Miata, an ND Miata, and I did, I think, a 126 flat in that. So, this is not as sporty as a Miata, but that doesn't come as a surprise to anybody. What did impress me was its handling balance and its composure over the bumps on the curbs. You could not upset this car. It was extremely well damped, extremely well controlled. I think this is the best shock and spring package I've ever felt on a Mazda. It's really that good over the curbs and the bumps. And on the road, it plays out that well. It rides extremely well too. So very impressed with that part of it. But it's not fast. I mean, its power to weight ratio being a 3,200 pound car with 186 horsepower. And it feels slower than even those numbers would suggest. It's just not a very fast car in a straight line. So ultimately that lack of motor is going to hurt you around a racetrack. But as a road car, I think it's sufficient power. It's not Mazda speed fast. You're not going to get in this car and think you're driving a hot hatch by any means, but when you get in it, you are going to feel like you're in a very luxurious, very comfortable, very refined space with an excellent audio system, very comfortable seats. Thank you very much everyone for watching. Appreciate you sticking with us for another track test, and we have lots more of those coming for you this summer, so stay tuned for that, including some more Mazdas that you might see soon. Welcome back to another track test video here at Toronto Motorsport Spark. Today, my victim is this brand new 2019 Mazda Speed, not Mazda Speed.